Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I want to do another Penelope makeup look. I had previously done a Penelope Featherington makeup look when part 1 of season 3 came out. So I did her very glowy skin and copper eyes. But I just woke up like a kid on Christmas morning and watched part 2 today. It just came out. And in the last episode, she has this gorgeous, bold, glamour look on, so like classic vintage Hollywood, the most beautiful red lip, and I was like, I have to try this. So yeah, if that sounds like something you're interested in, keep on watching. Okay, let's start with the complexion. I found that this makeup look wasn't quite as like intensely glowy and highlighty as some of the other looks have been this season. I found it was more like a really fresh, yes, a little bit glowy base, but nothing like overwhelming. It was really just allowing that red lip and that deeper, smoky, bronzy eye to pop. So I'm going to start with a glowy product, but something that's a little bit more natural of a glow, nothing overwhelming. This is from Rituel de Fille. It's their Serum Illuminator in the shade Glowing Creature. This is a pretty new product to me, but I've been enjoying it under makeup. So just one pump of that. And just prepping all of the skin with that. Basically like a moisturizer. I have to say, now I'm not going to give any major spoilers or anything throughout this tutorial, but I do feel like I have to bring up a couple things. For one, I do feel like this type of makeup look with the bold red lip was really like symbolic for her character and more of like her really being her most bold self. And I just feel like a red lip encompasses that so well. For foundation, I'm going to go in with full coverage. I just feel like when you're going for this kind of high glam look, having a really flawless base is really key, especially with the red lip, because like you want to get rid of any redness in your face so that the red of the lip isn't picking up any kind of discoloration. So I'm going to go in with the Urban Decay Face Bond. I've been really liking this foundation lately. It's very strange, and then it goes on sort of very thinly, the layer, but it has like a good power to it. And then I love how over the day it just wears so nicely. The glow will start to come through, but slowly. This is my 4th Bridgerton look now. I've had a lot of requests since doing the first Penelope look. So I've done Francesca, I did Daphne, I did start rewatching season 2, and Edwina's makeup is calling my name, so I'm sorry if you're sick of the Bridgerton looks, but they are so beautiful. I'm going to get a little bit more coverage with a full coverage concealer. This is the NARS Soft Matte. Definitely brightening up under the eye. Into the nose even. Starting to cancel out the redness of the eyelid. For brows, I'm gonna do something similar to the first Penelope look with just like a soft fill. This is the Anastasia Brow Duo in Caramel. I'm gonna use the darker one though, because I find opting for a slightly darker brow with a bolder lip just provides that framing and structure that helps it feel a bit more seamless. So since this season came out, I've been hearing and reading lots of things about some of the inspiration for Penelope's look and her hair and her makeup. And her hair is partly inspired by Jessica Rabbit, Rita Hayworth. So it's basically like this really old Hollywood glam, like I was saying. And I felt like this last sort of major look from the season really brought those themes to the forefront. And it's sort of like Penelope becoming a star in some ways, you know? If you look at it that way, hair and makeup can really tell a story about a character. As usual, setting that with a brow gel. I'm going to skip any contour or bronzing in this look. For now anyway, I don't feel like it's necessary, and going to go straight into blush. Now this is the Rose Ink blush in Azalea. I did use a Rose Ink blush before for Penelope, but it was more of like a burnt peachy apricot. This is like a bit of a pink with some red in it. I love this shade. Really centering it. In fact, she did have a lot of blush on. And her blush looked like it was a cream formula, because you can see the sort of radiance of it. I feel like that's a good amount. But then I'm going to go in with my foundation brush and go over the sides of it, really buff it in. So for the eyes, I'm going to use the Pat McGrath Mothership 5 Bronze Seduction. Borrowing this from my mother because I know they do use a lot of Pat McGrath products on set. So very happy to be using this today. And her eyes look in some ways similar to the first look I did, but a little bit more cool and definitely a little bit more smoky. We're getting into the lower lash line as well here. So I'm really thinking of these 3 shades for now. And I'm going to first go in with this one here. I'm going to take this over most of the lid. Basically using this as a base for everything. Now, without giving too much away, there is one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit from the end of this season, which was a certain speech that happened about what gossip is, because gossip is like a big part of this show. If you haven't watched it, watch it. But there's the Lady Whistledown who publishes the local gossip of the ton. Anyway, the speech goes something like, gossip is information. It forges bonds. And what I loved about this speech was that it harkens back to this idea that gossip is a woman's thing and that it's therefore trivial and it's therefore like misinformation or it's harmful. And that may be the case sometimes, but certainly not all the time. And the use of the word gossip in general was used to control women and stop them from talking. So I do really love that it's offered this, what I consider a very feminist perspective about gossip, in that it's women talking, right? So anyway, love that, because I felt like there was this really, at the end of the series, really some feminism happening and women coming into their own, especially in a society like that offers them so little opportunity to pursue their dreams and goals and keeps them in the dark about a lot of things. So anyway, just a little perspective, my perspective there. I'm going to start going into the darker brown, starting to build up the smokiness that's happening. Top of the lash line, and it's hard to see in detail, even though I took a few screenshots, but I feel like it just does make sense to smoke this into the crease a touch as well. I find in general, back to the whole gossip thing, but a lot of women's things do tend to get trivialized, including Bridgerton and liking Bridgerton. Or remember the Barbie versus Oppenheimer of the summer? So many men posting about how stupid Barbie is. Oh boy. Making fun of young girls loving Twilight. Me. I love Twilight. With a smaller brush in the same shade, I'm just going to see how dark I can get here. because it honestly does look like it could be a black shade being smoked out, but let's just see how dark this brown will get. I feel like I can go into a black as well though, just to get that extra depth. So I'm just gonna take this Hindash Beautopsy palette and go into that black and blend it with the dark brown. Then an even smaller brush just to really wedge it along the lash line. Then just a little bit more blending. A little bit more smokiness, because I find whenever I add the shimmer shade, it will sort of go over any darkening, deepening that's happened. So it's nice to go in with a little bit extra so that it can really peek through the shimmer. Just kind of toggling back and forth between those 2 shades, 3 shades really. Then trying out that Lisa Eldridge hack again, where you go in with a clean brush. Just really blend over everything. For the shimmer, I'm going to go into this one here. Sort of like a bronzy gold and definitely a glitter glue as well, so it doesn't go flying everywhere. A nice hack is to pick up the shade and go onto the back of your hand and then onto your eye. So you can really build it up that way. And then not as many like stray sparkles will get on your face. So similar to the clean brush hack where you use that to blend, I usually take the finger, like my pinky that doesn't have the glitter, and then use that to blend it in. Going in between these 2 shades, I'm going to put a little bit of it on the lower lash line. It's not too smoky, but there's definitely a bit of this shadow. Then if you look close, it looks like she has like a reddish brown in her waterline. So I'm going to see how far this pencil I have will take me. Just putting that in the waterline. It really makes her blue eyes pop. That didn't show up that much. I have to press hard. Hold on. I feel like I can also like get this into the actual lash line. No idea if this is waterline safe or not. I like that adds a touch of smokiness to the lower waterline without being like overwhelming like a black would. I'm gonna pop off camera to do my lashes, just classic black mascara, and then same as the other Penelope tutorial, a little bit of a lash, something wispy, not too overwhelming. I'm gonna cut one of these to be about a half lash, just to add that extra glam that I think is needed, and then see what the final steps are in the lipstick to really complete this look. So I am going to use a little bit of a highlighter. This is Rare Beauty Exhilarate. It's a soft gold. I notice a little bit of it like at the top of her nose bridge. It's a little bit on the cheekbone, but like not an intense beam, more just like a soft glow. And then also in her inner corner, it looks like there's also a highlight there. Let's add a gorgeous red lip. So I've been torn between 2 shades, which is my 2 favorite reds from Lisa Eldridge. There's Velvet Ribbon, Velvet Jazz. One's a little brighter, one's a little darker. For now, I'm thinking Velvet Jazz, which is the darker one. And I feel like it's very apt because this was a shade that Lisa Eldridge said was inspired by 1930s vintage reds. And I really feel like that's what Penelope's look is giving. So let's see how this shade goes. And then if I want to brighten it up a little, I can do that. But this is looking like the right one to me. So I usually like to apply the shade and then take a lip brush to clean up the edges. Velvet Ribbon would have been too bright and cool toned. This look needs that depth to have that sophistication to it. And just the finishing touches really give that curl, the really brushed out, soft feel. By the way, I just curled these all forward, and that's how you get that more vintage look to a curl. Modern curls tend to go more outwards, whereas vintage curls go in. So that's how you get more of that effect. And yeah, this is the finished makeup look. It is giving such high glam, such vintage Hollywood glam in my opinion, and I really think that Velvet Jazz was the right shade for this. You don't want a red that's too bright. It has to have a little bit more of that muted, deeper, sophisticated tone to it to really make this look work and have that vintage like reference to it. And yeah, I loved the end of this series. I did feel like this makeup look just really reflected Penelope's womanhood. When I was rewatching recently season 1 and 2, you could really see how they played her up to be very sort of childish and girlish, and now she's really coming into her own. That's not really much of a spoiler. That's really what this season is about, her being the star of her own show. And yeah, I love this look. I'm really excited to wear it for the rest of the day around the house. It's about 30 degrees outside, really hot, so we'll see if it's going to live up to the temperatures. But yeah, I feel so ultra glam, and this has been a really fun series. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for 5K here on YouTube. That feels like a milestone to me, and I couldn't do that without your support. So thank you for everyone for subscribing, commenting, liking. It all helps support me and the channel, and just sending you a lot of love. Let me know in the comments down below if you liked this look, what you thought of the end of this season. And this has been so fun. Definitely keep an eye out. I'm thinking of doing maybe one more Bridgerton look, maybe one more, okay? Edwina. Although who knows, maybe I'll continue. Maybe we'll see. I feel like I'm overdoing it, but I also feel like you guys like it. I don't know. So yeah, until next time, may you find yourselves a little bit of makeup magic, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye, witches.